Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Michael Falzarano, Hot Tuna, 1983.
All right. We have Michael Falzarano with us from New Riders. He's played with Hot Tuna, his own bands, the Englishtown Experiment, I believe it's called. Project. There you go. And Memphis Pilgrims. So
Right.
we got a lot going on there. But let's start in. You first came on my radar after the 89 Hot Tuna tour. I mean, the 89 airplane tour where Tuna got together and
That's right.
the album came out, Paradise Found. And looking at it, I'm like, who's this guy who wrote all the songs? It was like you're coming out. So can we go back to 83 because I had just asked you about this and
Sure.
get the 83 Tuna story, and then let's jump into the years you were with them. I guess it was 12 or 13 years probably, right?
Well, actually, it's closer to 20. So back in 83, right? Well, let's just go a little bit further back. I moved to San Francisco in the late 70s, right? And shortly thereafter, I met Jorma, I met Jack, I met just about everybody. It's like a freak thing. You know, I'm a young kid at that point. I'm in my 20s, late 20s. I get to San Francisco and like I'm meeting just about everybody because it was the kind of thing you can do then, you know. So I meet everybody, and me and Jorma become pretty good friends right off the bat. And after a while, you know, he was in '77. Hot Tuna broke up. You know, they split. Jorma and Jack went their separate ways for a while, and Jorma was doing a bunch of solo shows, and I was doing some solo. Had a band called the Phantoms, and I was doing shows in San Francisco at the same place, the Stone and Berkeley, you know, and somewhere along the way in the late '70s, early '80s, Jorma and I started to play together. You know, at his house. After we'd finish our gigs, we'd go hang out at his house till the early morning hours, and we'd play guitar, and we made some recordings, and you know, and that's how we became friends, right? So in this went on for a couple of years. And I did some shows with him, you know, the Keystone Berkeley, the Keystone Palo Alto, the Keystone San Francisco, and a bunch of other ones. And at some point in '83, early in '83, he and I were in the studio in Berkeley recording a new album for him. And we were putting the songs together and whatnot. And an agent, Michael Gaiman, came to Jorma and Jack and asked them if they would be interested in reuniting and doing a reunion tour. And after a short period of time, they agreed to it. I mean, I was in the studio with Jorma, like I said. Jack fell by the studio, and there was a conversation between Jorma and Jack and myself. I was just sitting in on the conversation, as you might guess. I wasn't like, oh, Hot Tuna, you know. And I was like really excited because I'm an old Hot Tuna fan from way back. You know, I grew up on Long Island. I played the music of Hot Tuna. I played the music of the Grateful Dead, Command Dakota. All these bands I sooner or later became friends with everybody and played with. So in '83, what happened was they had a conversation. Jorma and Jack had a discussion. And, you know, in the discussion, they decided they were going back and forth to do it, not to do it. And then Jorma turned to me and said, well, what do you think? Now, again, I'm a huge Hot Tuna fan, you know,
Like, do it.
and I'm like, this is great, man. I think you should do it, man. You should do it. It'll be great, you know, because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, they'll just pick up where they left off and boom, you know. So we were, you know, the conversation went around, and then you know, Jorma and looking at Jack and looked at me and said, well, if everybody wants to do it, yeah, well, let's do it. And I took that as Jorma and Jack are going to do this thing. They're going to get Bob Steeler back, and they're going to go back out and be a power trio, right? So the next morning, the Hot Tuna manager at the time, Ronnie, called me up and said, how much do you want? I said, for what? He goes, the Hot Tuna tour. How much how much are you going to ask for? I go, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Do I have a job? You giving me a job? I thought maybe I was going to be a roadie or something. I don't know. Again, I'm pretty young. Um, so he goes, no, I talked with Jorma. He said you're in the band. I'm going like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah. So later that day, I call up Jorma. I say, I just spoke with Ronnie. You're talking this thing about, what we could do, what I want. He said, yeah. Well, what do you want? I'm going like, I didn't know what to say. I don't even know what I asked for, to be honest with you, at that point.
What's the going rate?
Yeah. But everything worked out. They're very generous, both Jorma and Jack. And so that was that. It was set, that we were going to go out. And I was now going to be in Hot Tuna. Again, I'm thinking, well, it's going to be Jorma and Jack. And the last drummer they had was Bob Steeler, a friend of mine. And so I figured that's how it was going to go down. But at some point, I realized that Jorma and Bob Steeler had something of a falling out because of the way Steeler left the band or left Jorma sort of hanging, sent him a telegram or something. It was a foolish way to end a relationship or to postpone a relationship. And even Bob says at this point, yeah, it was pretty stupid. Yeah. So that was that. So it was pretty much set. And Jorma was scheduled to go out on a solo tour, And so I get a call one morning. It's actually in the afternoon. He said, can you roll by my house? I need a ride to the airport. I had a van. I got my gear. I'm going out on the road. So I said, yeah, sure. So I go by his house. We get all his gear in the van. We drive to the airport. We unload it on the sidewalk there. The guys, porters, are putting it all on their carts and taking it all away. And, on the conversation, we were talking about what we're going to do with this Hot Tuna thing coming up. Going to rehearse at SIR when he gets back. And, that was that. And so we said our goodbyes. He was walking away from the van. I was still parked there. And then he came like running back to the van, tapped on the window. It was a roll down the window. That's how long ago it was in the van. I rolled down the window and he said, oh yeah, find a drummer for us. And I'm like, and then he walks away and gets on a plane. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I got to find the drummer? Yeah. So I have been playing with a really good drummer, really nice guy from Japan, Shigemi Komiyama. And so, who was also a Hot Tuna fan, when he was growing up in Japan. So I immediately called him up and I said, I was under the impression she gave me that they would either use Bob Steeler or Paul Zoll, who Jack Cassidy's been playing with, but apparently they don't want to use either one of those guys. And so would you be interested in doing it? Of course, he said yes in 1 second. Okay. So that's how it all exploded. The volcano exploded. Okay. Jorma comes back. He's back in town now. We're going to rehearse. And, we get at SIR, the big sound stage, for 3 days. First day we set up, we play like half a song, and everybody goes, everybody come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get a full rehearsal in. Tomorrow comes, we get there, me and Shigemi, right on time at noon, because we're told to be there at noon. The boys don't come till about 3 in the afternoon. And we play maybe a couple of songs, and then they split, and they go, we'll jump in tomorrow, the third day. And so the tomorrow comes along, and, lo and behold, they show up, we play another song, and then the crew comes in to break everything down. So we really had no rehearsal time. At that point, Jorma and Jack had both been doing their own thing, and Jorma was going to continue to do that. That's what we thought we would do, was play some of the songs he'd been playing, some of the songs I've been doing in my band. Which was a huge miscalculation in that the fans were just hoping to get back to 77, So when we went out on the road, it wasn't that spectacular. It was a disappointment to some fans, and musically it was challenging. But we got through it. We did 2 tours in 83, I think, and maybe one in 84. And then that was that for a while, and I went off, did my thing, and Jorma and Jack went off to do the duet thing. The one thing I could say about the 83 tour, the great thing about it, in my opinion, even though some people didn't like it, is that it got Jorma and Jack back together, and they've been together ever since. They never stopped playing again from that tour on. So if you didn't like the music, it's one thing, but it did get them back together and back on track as being Hot Tuna.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.